content, man. This is a dark movie. You know, this is movies aren't made like this anymore. It's a lot like Scarface in content and just its extreme nature. It's not a movie that's for everyone, but there's definitely a time and a place for a movie like this with me, and that's what drew me to it. I remember growing up as a kid, Scarface was the forbidden movie that my parents would never allow me to see, but as soon as I was old enough, I ran and saw it, and you know, this is just one of those movies where there was no holds barred, and Wayne Kramer, the director, he made it very clear from the get-go that, you know, just go for broke every day, day in and day out. So it was a bit of an exercise, I guess, a way to exercise the demons, so to speak. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, you know, we've gotten a lot of mixed reviews, but the thing I like about this movie is that it definitely leaves people walk out of the theater with a strong opinion, whether they love it or hate it. But it's a lot to swallow. It's a tough movie.
Paul, does it bother you at all personally when you take it on the chin a little bit for doing something this daring and this wild, this maybe violent?
No. I mean, I live one time, and, you know, this is a selfish move. I made it for myself. I sure as heck, I'm not taking my little girl to see this one. And, you know, I don't want my mother to see it either. But, you know, you live one time, and this is one of those ones where, you know, I sat down with Wayne Kramer, and I just knew it's something I wanted to be a part of.
Well, this is the writer and director of The Cooler, which was a very good film with William H. Macy a year or two ago, and who really does write well and write smartened up as opposed to dumbing down. Was working with him what you thought it would be? And I'm sure that's a lot about doing this film too, is working with Wayne.
Yeah. It's just I don't think there's many guys out there that could have held it together. He's really passionate about his work. He doesn't compromise. I dubbed him the mad scientist. The guy is completely insane, but in a good way. Creatively, I don't know what planet he's from, but the guy, he's like nobody else I've worked with. But more importantly, he's just a good guy. I really like him as a person. He's a family man. He's a great dad, good husband, and I really respect him. He's a really solid guy, and I know he's going to go the distance. He'll be around a long time.
Paul, you've got another movie out now called Eight Below, and that film really found an audience last week. I think part of it for me is I think it found an audience because it has great respect for dogs. You know, it's really unusual that movies like that do that. Are you happy with that film, or were you happy with the opening?
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I mean, I read it and it reminded me of Old Yeller. You know, when I was a kid, that was probably my favorite movie. And, you know, later on it was Indiana Jones, you know, and Star Wars and a few others, but I loved Old Yeller, and that's what it reminded me of right off. And I'd done Running Scared, actually, almost 2 years ago now, and I knew there was no way I was going to take my daughter to see that, and Eight Below came around, and I thought, wow, if there was ever an opportunity to go and do something, I felt it was heartwarming. I mean, it definitely made me cry at times reading it, and but at the end of it, it left me with a really good, positive outlook on things. And yeah, it was important to me. I wanted to be a part of that movie.
Now, what are you doing next? Because I'm assuming at this point in your career, there's a lot of things that come across your desk, and you have that choice to say yes or no, and sometimes those are not easy choices. So, what do you got coming up?
Flags of Our Fathers will come out sometime later on this fall, directed by Clint Eastwood. I'm really excited about that.
Wow, Clint Eastwood film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's at the top of his game right now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, 76 years old. He's doing better than ever.
Hey, let's go back. I want to go back to a little bit of Running Scared. If I could say one thing about this character, this is a man who has chosen a very tough life. It's the life he's chosen. I know he loves his kids. I know he loves his wife, but he seems to be a guy who makes bad decisions. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but you know what? He manages somehow, some way to land on his feet at the same time. But yeah, there's definitely a dark cloud that follows him around. He's having a hard time shaking it. You know, he wasn't born into the best situation. As you know, his father was abusive, but this is a guy, I respect him. I think he's the kind of guy that just, you know, yeah, maybe life isn't the easiest road, but he perseveres, and, you know, I think innately, I think he's a good person. You know, he found himself in a pretty rough position, but he's going to pull through it, and I know a lot of people like that.
Absolutely. Paul Walker, hey, thanks for the conversation today. Always nice talk.